Hello, everyone. Today, we're having a wonderful presentation on why you should consider using an interior designer and a kitchen and bath designer for your home if it's been destroyed or you're going through new construction. And I can attest to this. My home was involved in the Marshall wildfire at the very tail end of 2021. And I'm actually really, really honored to be working with these two people who are going to be presenting today, as they have made such incredible benefits to our design and our home. So first off, I'd like to have Jay Morrow of Denver Lighting, excuse me, Urban Lighting of Denver, Colorado. Why don't you introduce yourself, please, Jay?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jay Morrow. I've been in the interior design industry for roughly 32 years. I've done lighting design for the last 20 straight years, considering mixing interior design and lighting design is so important to getting a home to where it needs to be in a timeless situation, so it can go through time and never say I'm old or new. So that's pretty much my background to start off with. I've helped tons of people get some beautiful homes in the metro area of Denver and also in San Francisco, Alameda, California, Houston, Dallas, Prince Edward Island, Vancouver, British Columbia, halfway around the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, so it makes it you're known around the world. That's really, really neat. I didn't know that. And then I have Barbara Barton aboard. She's also from here in Colorado. Barbara, can you introduce yourself, please?
Barbara Barton. I'm a certified master kitchen and bath designer, which just means that I'm very seasoned. Indeed, I have been in this industry in various roles for over 45 years. I have a little bit more gray than maybe Jay does. I'm not sure. I have just had a passion about designing homes, especially in kitchens and baths, with the details that are absolutely necessary for people to feel 100% at home. So even though I've been volunteering with Louis and the Living in Place Institute for over 10 years, I know that the principles that he represents are exactly what designers are looking at today to make all homes safe, accessible, beautiful, practical. And there we go. So I may be using some examples to show you what a kitchen and bath designer can do that is a little bit distinctive. That's why we're both on this call, Jay and I, so you can see some of the differences by giving Louis as an example in his new home. So that's it for me.
Barbara, the credential you mentioned, what organization sanctions that?
Oh, like the National Kitchen and Bath Association actually has this designation for under 100 people nationally. And yes, we have to do homework to keep it going.
Yeah, but it's a really a difficult credential to get. It takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience to be able to get there. All right, so let's start on the interior side of things. Jay, what really do interior designers do?
We take a project which you handed over. We value the look for the interior as well as the exterior, if we're allowed, to give you the right amount of design and time specification for the look of your home, whether you want it to be a traditional home, 2022 look, or go back to a little bit of a Tuscan feel in design, as well as a modern interpretation of Tuscan. This is where you and Judy have come into this with me, coming up with design that is more timeless, but gives her a little bit of the old world with the new world. So our ideas are to incorporate good looks, high quality, at a reasonable price and keep everything flowing throughout the entire house and all the way through the second floor.
So Jay, how do you really differentiate yourself from, say, an architect? Architect many times will come into doing certain things. Why is it so important to work with an interior designer over an architect?
Well, architects do great build out looks for the interiors as well as the exteriors of the homes. They take a look at your soffit structures. They give you the incorporation of height and value in ceilings. They give you the effects of the staircases where you need. And when you're an interior designer, we take what they've given you and we bring it full circle to higher design, better lighting scale for scape lighting for staircases, entry lighting with scape lighting. So you have really good down lighting on the floors for when you're walking in versus just having an entry piece hanging from the ceiling. Layout of your recessed cans so that we can get high light value in the living spaces for artwork and design work that's going to happen in the kitchens and offices and bedrooms throughout the house into the pantries. The rear entry is just as much a focus. A garage is so important for light value, for maintenance and keeping up with things. You can never stop giving your home the right amount of light. It's how the light is valued and how it looks in your space and gives the space the look of the money as well as the look of time. So it says, I've been here, but I've never aged.
So how do you go about collaborating with, the builder contractor, because, that becomes kind of it can be kind of a difficult challenge for some builders that are now you're starting to jump into their territory?
Well, first off, we take the architect's blueprints. We categorize each room for what it's going to be worth and what the client wanted. We work with the builder to give them that look. Special treatments with architectural treatments in the house, arches, scape lighting in columns, recessed cove lighting if we want for architectural effects, backlighting in kitchens behind cabinetry and glass doors, toe kick lighting throughout for light value to be able to see what fell and get it picked up quick, as well as the drama that makes a room really, really shine, really gives it the effect of timelessness.
So if somebody's considering using someone like you, Jay, what should people expect in the process of, going through the motions of selecting goods and the like? Well, how does that work out?
Well, everyone has a different view of what their home is going to be. I try and target what that homeowner has got in mind, using full scale lighting fixture lookups, as well as seeing the amount of lumens that they're going to have, but getting the style in vogue of what they intend, what makes a person have a warm feeling about what they like, making them excited about what they want to have for their new home, giving them a different value and persona of the look of the fixtures, that it's not like everybody else. It's not like a builder grade product. It's about a fine design product that gives each one their own independent feelings in what they've done with their house.
And so I know you you undoubtedly get into like textures of like, what should the window coverings be like, or maybe things that are hung on walls, as well as making certain statements, say on ceilings, like, doing some sort of coffer ceiling, which may not cost all that much, but can end up making a pretty big statement. What other things do you get into as an interior designer when you start looking at, talking with somebody that they want to have their home be like a Frank Lloyd Wright home or whatever, a prairie home, or other sort of design? How do you go about, the things that make that home really a unique environment?
Choosing flooring, sorry, choosing tile versus woods, the type of carpeting that they want. Do we want something a little bit more personal? Duri rug, a high design Tibetan rug, that type of thing. How far do they want to go with the feeling of the space interior? How much do they want to have in scale and architecture, giving the space, but most of all, making the space transition time that says, I was never built yesterday. I've been like this forever, and I still feel good in the long term.
And Jay, what's the best way for someone to find an interior designer?
That's kind of a hard question, because we are all over the country. We're in every city. In the city and county of Denver, there's at least 300 of us, if not more, licensed and unlicensed. And that's a variable. It depends on your schooling, how far they go with lighting, and the design aspect of their schooling, getting their CKD, being able to have the entire aspect of design. Barbara has her kitchen and lighting design degree. She's gone pretty far with her kitchen and bath scenario. I've gone the opposite direction with interior layout, merchandising, scaling for architectural lighting, how much value I get, going into the new LED product, having to go through several classes for LED training to give people higher values of light, as well as more efficient lighting to keep the energy efficiency of the house, as well as the cost of the house's electrical and gas down, as most people are seeing in this particular time such a rise in these costs because of the energy situation in the States. So they find us online. They
Okay.
find me walking in a store. They find us at different design outlets. They find us in specialty design groups and design firms.
So what I found working with you, Jay, and other interior designers is just the plethora of different options that you can bring to the party based upon what we're trying to look for. And I find that to be very, very useful with regards to, again, the textures, the how we want to deal with pictures in our home to be able to better light them, because if you light it the wrong way, the picture is going to look flat. If you do it right, it just pops out of the wall. It's all those rugs and murals and other things that you guys bring to the party. The lighting, you've been amazing in regards to lighting, in regards to the various options that are out there, what will work, what won't work. So that's my own personal testimonial to what interior designers do. So I'm going to move on to Barbara now. Barbara, what do kitchen and bath designers do?
Oh, geez. First, I want to acknowledge that there are still a lot of people who have lost their home in the Marshall Fire that maybe have never had the opportunity to create a home from scratch. And it can be very overwhelming. So I've often defined myself as a specialist. You have your architect as the general physician, if you will, and coming up with ideas that he has garnered from you, the client, and being able to try and create it in a reality. And then there are us specialists like Jay and I, interior designers, kitchen bath designers. And the truth is that we collaborate with everyone that is still on the team. We still have to start with you. We still have to start with your lifestyle. We have to know that in the past, when you were in that home in the Marshall area, What was it that you discovered in a lot of ergonomic areas, your likes, your dislikes? What if you had the opportunity to create your perfect kitchen? What could it look like? What could it feel like? What are the assets that you absolutely love about cooking or even hate about cooking? Kitchen and bath designers are there to give you a lot of the next step that is needed from what an architect and contractor can do. We are there to walk you through with the products and making sure that these products are designed in a way that actually supports your home, not your house. It's your home will be satisfied forever, we hope. That's the way that is. What we've discovered is that, of course, every year, every month, frankly, the products in our industry changes. We've got new technology. We've got new colors. We've got new materials. So part of the reason why you're hiring a professional designer, kitchen and bath or interior, is that they are keeping up with those new products. The second reason is because we're trying to share with you our resources. And the resources that we have that are going to allow you to see, touch, feel samples, experiences before you are having to make final decisions about these critical rooms in your home. So I'm going to use plumbing as an example. If I haven't seen so much change in the plumbing industry, not only because of trying to save water, but also the humidity factor in homes, the flushing factor, the fact that the wellness factor of people in their showers, such as Louie and Judy, who may be open to a steam shower because they know that for their asthma, they want to control it. These are small details that a contractor passes on to a kitchen and bath designer. And that designer is still collaborating with, in essence, a plumbing showroom that's going to allow you to see the product, touch it, feel it, experience it. And I'm serious, you can experience a steam shower in one of mine. Not my home, my trade professional. Now, when we get into kitchens, it always has to start with, again, kind of like the engine in your car, is going to start with your appliances. The technicalities of new appliances today, because of the new codes that are insisting, of course, with energy compatibility and reserves and how they take care of that, still are going to affect how you use that kitchen. It's not just a microwave anymore. So being able to highlight that education is also one of the major reasons why I feel using a professional kitchen and bath designer will allow you to have the confidence, will allow you to see down to the very last penny what it's going to cost you to move forward with all of your design decisions. Now, it's sort of an area, and Jay knows this, where some kitchen and bath designers do more and some interior designers do more. So there is this point where we actually collaborate together. And that's because, frankly, why wouldn't you want two specialists to collaborate with you and for you in a lot of these aspects? Because we're making the home come together. And my last point is, I've always said this, and I think, Jay, you're going to agree, design is in the details. And what I mean in that, when I still have to do my drawings and Jay has to do his drawings, is 1 inch is a mile. And if it's not quite right, it could throw the whole design off. We're the ones, Jay and I, that take that responsibility for not only assessing the quantity, the color, how it's installed, what is the longevity, how do you take care of it? So the practical aspects of finishing your home is what we take on responsibility for, and to assure you that you are working with professionals. Well, that's it in a nutshell, Louis. I'm not sure how much more you'd like.
Well, there is something else that you guys you bring to the table. There are a number of showrooms that are only open to the trade. Am I correct on that? That I just can't walk in there to be able to take a look at things. And that's where the two of you come in, as to more or less open the door to be able to see things that I'd only normally be able to just, go to, say, a big box store, and that's not giving me the sort of selection that I'm looking for. Am I correct with that?
Yes.
Now, because a kitchen and bath designer usually, but it's not true, is not affiliated with one particular retail outlet. There are kitchen and bath designers who are part of kitchen and bath firms that sell cabinetry, countertops, tile. They do the whole design. That's still an option. And when I know about Jay and his extremely experienced and trusted outview in understanding how to work with a company like Urban Lights, although he can go anywhere in this city and it wouldn't make any difference. The point is that you will still have choices as long as the person you choose to work with is a member of the trade. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it's a perfect answer to that. All right, so Barbara, from a standpoint of kitchen and bath, you guys really get in deep in regards to ergonomics, the way you go about doing things in those two environments. Can you explain to us, like, how you typically start engaging with a client, perhaps both the partners in that home, as to making certain that they're going to end up getting what they really want? So kind of step us through what a kitchen and bath designer would do from that standpoint.
There's usually a 2 to 3 hour introductory questionnaire and session with any client that goes through an awful lot of ergonomic focus. This allows us to study the heights, the weights, if there's any infirmities that are temporary or fixed. And just to give you an example, so let's say the husband is 6'2", the wife is 5'2". The reach on this is going to depend on then what we are storing at what height and how high, as well as how low, because a trauma accident may have stopped them from a knee injury or a back issue. All of this is going to be taken into consideration in the ergonomics of kitchen and bath design. I have to feel like, Jay, that it also could affect you in the type of furniture that you might recommend. Would it?
Yes, ma'am. Most definitely. More support, the necessity of support, the capability of not having a 40-year-old's bounce to get out of a chair, and being a 66-year-old who sits in a chair and figuring that he has to crawl out versus stand up. That's how far it can go.
And that goes a long way. I mean, I have personal experience where we did our family room in the house before it was destroyed. My wife did a mail order sort of thing. She purchased a chair through that, and the chair was so deep that for me, I'm up just like 5'10". I had to put pillows behind me to get support from behind it. And as like, that was the last time I said that I'm never gonna buy a piece of furniture that either I sleep in or I sit in, you know, without me putting my body on it.
Yeah. Again, these design and the details, these are the ones that are too overwhelming for any couple. And even though you may have, which is great, a lot of friends who may be able to suggest that you can look it out, when it really comes down to making decisions about this and knowing how the impact is going to affect the architect or the contractor or yourself, when that entry was not having a slip resistance flooring, then this is why you want to choose a professional. There's just no question about it. You know, I just have to acknowledge you may not have ever thought that you would be in this situation where you are rebuilding your own home. Why not approach it with, let's make this my forever home? And that's what we're here to offer you, how we can look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, and I like your analogy you mentioned earlier, Barbara, as to a architect is kind of like a general practitioner, your family doctor. You go to them when you may have a cold or something like that. But if I go to my family doctor and my back is stiff and it's hurting, most likely he or she is going to say, "Look, I need to get you to see a specialist." And so that's where, like, the analogy of you being the specialist, being able to come in to be able to say, here's what it's all about. I mean, can I can only imagine if we had done everything through an architect, which there are a lot of architects that could do this, but I would not have gotten anywhere near the selection opportunities that I've gotten from the two of you and the others that I've been working with than I would with the architect. They are really great in regards to the envelope of rooms and the height and sort of doors and windows you may want to have. But when it comes down to making appropriate selections, they're not going to ask questions like, I know Barbara, you were asking, is like, you know, kind of intimate questions like, do you guys take showers together? That's probably something that I don't think too many architects are going to be talking all that much about. Okay. You know, it's things like that that, you know, add merit. And it's like, okay, here's, you were mentioning the 6'2", 5'2" person. Yeah, it's especially a bathroom sink for designed for the 5'2" person is going to be uncomfortable for the 6'2" person, and then vice versa. Sometimes you have to basically split the vanity in two. You know, one height for the taller person and a shorter height for the other.
And the final designs for both kitchen and bath are absolutely still needing to be collaborated with the interior designers. So looking at how Jay and I have already worked on just fixtures in the bathroom. So beside the medicine cabinet, we have so many options. And I have some information in my head about the client. I'm telling him what ideas that I have, but he also says, here's some of the products we can consider that may address some of those other ideas. So that collaboration is key. You need to expect it and want it.
So I'm going to ask this same question to both of you. Okay, for somebody who's you brought it up, Barbara, in regards to doing a forever home. From a standpoint of both the kitchen and bath, and then Jay on your end in regards to making that environment work for those sort of individuals. Jay, I'm going to start with you. What would you do for lighting to be able to make it so that it's going to be something that's going to be functional for that person for the rest of their duration that they're in that home?
Well, specifically with the lighting, your eyes, what do you see? What's your favorite color? Do you like warm colors? Do you feel better with warm colors? Do you have problems with a blue light effect? Everybody's computers are a blue screen. A lot of people have problems with blue screens. Now there's glasses for people with blue screen computers. in your home, you don't want to live like you're in a computer. You want to live in a home that is comfort, high quality, light quality, comforting. If I need it to be brighter, I want it to be brighter. I want to make sure that I have enough light to give it that look. In my artwork, I want to make sure that I get and use the right light value to make the colors in the artwork look the way they're meant to look. I don't want them to be harsh. I want them to be natural and elusive, bringing you depth and design the right way. Light is so important for traffic. You have to have it for the traffic areas, specifically to get up and down stairs, to get down hallways in the night, to be able to get into a bathroom without a lot of trauma and trip over anything. Everyone has, I'm sorry, small area rugs in their bath areas, in their toilet rooms, in their vanity areas. A lot of times that's not a way to go, because that's the first area that people have the most chance and do fall a lot, because they're not being careful about what they see when they get into that room. You live in a living space. You want to read your paper. I want to give you the light to read your paper, but do you want floor lamps? Do you want architectural lighting? You want to do sconces, or are you going to let me use really high value ceiling architectural recess today that I can give really strong beam spreads to the spaces, and people can sit in a chair and read from that light in that chair, and we can just redirect it once in a while. If you want to do furniture rearranging, you can rearrange the fixture really easily to be able to do these things. Wall sconces are high design, really important for architectural treatments in entry halls, stairwells, basement stairwells, beauty beyond belief. Also as the light and architectural feeling for bathroom vanity, mirrors and such as that, and powder rooms. Pendants in the kitchen, very popular right now. Not just one chandelier over an island anymore. 3, 4, 5 pendants with some people. Size makes a difference. The height of the ceiling makes a difference. It's all about where we're going to take the lighting to. What look are we going to go? We can mix feel and space by being transitional with light fixtures. Transitional and light fixtures can go from English country to high-powered Southwest to very contemporary California modern to Colorado outback to Montana living. It can go all the way around the world. You can go to a Baroque design, you can go to Italian feel, you can go to a Tuscan feel, you can go to any feel you want by a light fixture anymore. But I've still got to come up with the light value that's going to get the room the way you want it to be, and to perceive in architecture how it's going to be in that room. And it's going to make the biggest play on an area rug in a space. It's going to make the biggest play on your coffee table, your accent table behind a sofa, also your pillows, your side chairs, you name it, cabinets every room, whatever we're going to do for design. How I'm going to get a dining room to give full architectural value that you want in time and be timeless, as well as a living room that is today more of a great room for everybody. So you end up incorporating the kitchen, an eating nook, and a beautiful island and cabinetry into a big great room. And hey, let's throw a fireplace in, and hey, why not a beautiful chandelier that hangs in the middle of just that space near the fireplace, and architectural treatments on the fireplace if you want, in sconces. It goes all the way around, Lou.
So it sounds like the great room that you and Barbara have designed for our home, having those sort of features to it. So one of the things that you mentioned, in regards to intensity of lighting, in the past, like when my parents were still alive, they'd each have their own magnifying glass that they would bring with them to a restaurant, and that magnifying glass sometimes would have a little light with it for them to be able to read the menu. Now it's people pulling out their smartphones and either turning the light on or using the camera to be able to expand things out. Is there a kind of a normal aging process of the eye that, you know, basically requires you to need more illumination to see the same thing as you did when, say, you were in your 20s, where, God, I could read everything. I could read 4-point font.
Yes. Aging happens with eyes, whether it's macular degeneration or not. And I'm not going to try and answer this for Jay, but I'm also going to add, if you don't mind, that this is actually still one of the major focuses for a kitchen and bath designer. And an example of this is that we are now specifying a matte finish on every kitchen countertop.
Why?
Yes, I want you to
Why?
wrap your head around
I
this.
like gloss.
It has to do with glare. It has to do with the future of what's going to happen with lighting in your eyes. So when you know that a home as a forever home is going to be for grandkids just as much as teenagers and your neighbors and everyone else besides yourself, you want to absolutely trust that you can specify certain products and their finishes like this that's going to coordinate with the style and the way that it goes.
So Jay, I'm guessing the reason why you're specifying in our home probably overly bright lights along with dimmers is to accommodate that future need where your eyes just don't work the same way they did when they were younger. Am I correct?
There's going to be a day, Lou, when you sit in your chair and you've got an article you want to read, but the light value in the room in the mid-afternoon isn't quite what it was at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9. And you're going to need to punch it up a notch. You're going to want it punched up a notch, and you're going to want the capability of seeing it a little bit better. So whether you have bifocals or you don't have bifocals, as a senior, bifocals have gone away quite a bit because of the new surgeries that are going on out there, but a lot of seniors still have to wear bifocals. One of my parents is one of them. But the point is, you want to be able to see what you're doing and reading and not have to stress your eyes and get irritated by what you're doing. You lose the focus of having the fun time in the article when you can't see what the heck you're doing.
All right. So Barbara, we're now going to shift to the kitchen and bath as to what you would look at to do from making it a forever home, because you've touched on a few things, but I gotta imagine there's like hundreds of things that you could bring up to be able to make those environments not only safer but more accessible and also healthy at the same time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We start with the toe kick. The toe kicks in the cabinets, lighting them, visually lighting on the floor. So you see where you're walking. You don't have an issue with catching a rug. So if there's a sock still on the floor, or Lou didn't pick up his sandals and put them away, someone can walk around and know that they're there and not have an accident. Bathrooms are the biggest places of accidents by far. 65% of all the major accidents happen in a bathroom.
Right.
And 40% actually happen in the stairwells. Staircases are terrible for seniors. Your mobility, your mobility is cut back severely. Your flexibility with your knee. You need a railing. A lot of people need railings to hold on, or the capability of having some support to get upstairs, whether it's a new lift or an elevator. A lot of this is happening in a major amount of the homes today. But the funnest part about the whole thing is, if the light is where you are on the steps to come up, you can gauge where you put your feet. So light illumination on a staircase off the wall, being 18 inches above the stair itself, will illuminate up 3 stairs. So we do it every 3. So we get the entire look of high design going up the staircase. And then we can still have a chandelier or some really neat sconces for visual effects on the walls. And I put recessed cans to aim at the walls to have your art and the architecture of the space highly dynamic in this market. And offsetting light on cabinetry, offsetting light on counters. And as Barb said, a matte finish on a kitchen countertop right now is a whole lot of fun. We called it a few years ago leathered, having a leathered countertop. How sexy was that when that came out? Really a popular look. And the idea of having a leathered countertop today is still as sexy as it was then. A house I helped to do up in Vail just in the last year is got leathered everywhere, leathered in the bedrooms and the baths and in the kitchen counters, on the kitchen counters, the utility room, every room has a leathered counter. The reason she chose that, no maintenance in her mind. I don't have to wash that counter because I can see the streak running across it from the Windex when the girl was doing her housekeeping. It just is a nice wash or wipe with a wet towel and you're on to the next thing. It doesn't mean the counters are going to be really dirty. It just means that it's less maintenance in your life. It makes people happier. And it's a sexy vogue.
Thank you, Jay. You covered so much, which is wonderful, wonderful. So to answer Louis, when he was saying, what else could we do in the bathrooms that we are looking out for the forever home
and kitchens.
and the kitchen? One of the aspects, you may have some seating, which would be a ledge where the tub is. And where that tub is also, if you're going to have a sunken tub, you want to, quote, try it on for size and who is going to be using it and how long and where do they want to have it face? And does it want to be near a window? Does it want to be near a fireplace? Does it want to have other aesthetics around it to make it comfortable? These aspects are still a part of what a kitchen bath designer can help with. And when we have a seat and or a ledge in a shower, this is very critical as well. The height is very important to who is going to be using it. This isn't just for a footrest. I'm talking about for a person who may need to temporarily seat themselves in the shower. Now I'm bringing up grab bars because everybody talks about grab bars these days and they keep saying, oh, okay, I got it. I need to get the grab bars. Well, grab bars are now evolving not only to be solid metal, aesthetically styled, the color and the material is appropriate for the safety, but also for the ergonomics again, whether it's something for you near a toilet, something that is on another wall that could assist you and have it look a part of a normal, beautiful bathroom. Showers are needed with this. Steam showers for sure. Bathtubs for sure. So when we get into this, I also get into, believe it or not, I'm going to introduce this topic, smart technology. This is so pervasive today that especially in a bathroom where you have things you may want to control, let alone the other aspects of your home, which Jay knows, there are so many opportunities now for you to consider smart technology. Turning on, turning off, controlling, light functions, heights, depths, all of this, even all of our appliances are getting to the point where you want to consider smart technology.
So other things that you do in bathrooms, especially like for toilets, just list out a few things that you normally do. You would always include in every project.
Well, can I use your home as an example?
Well, you help make it that way. You might as well.
All right. There are certain heights of toilets that are most appropriate for comfort. We now call them comfort heights, but there's still a variable of a 2-inch. And as I said to you, 1 inch is a mile. So it could be for a certain person of a certain height. The second is, do we have the room for a full-fledged toilet, i.e. with the bowl in the back of it? Excuse me, the tank in the back of it and the bowl? Or do we need to actually recess that tank in the wall? Do we want a toilet that actually sits on the floor? Or do we want it elevated above the floor for ease of cleaning, as well as not be a challenge, so we say, for people with knee-foot issues? Neuropathy is pretty pronounced. And being able to have the size of that toilet be able to fit the people who are going to be using it. Does that help besides the grab bars and everything else?
Yeah, but there's another thing that you insisted on being in my home, and that's an outlet near every toilet. And I'm thinking like,
Oh, you love that. Thank
oh,
you.
well, I'm thinking that you were going down the path that I could, have a nightlight there, or maybe if I really wanted to get a heated toilet seat, or for the people who basically claim that they never use their phone while they're in the bathroom, a place to charge it. But you have a different purpose for that outlet.
When we can actually plug in the what I consider the massive invention of a toilet that allows you to have a bidet aspect to it, and now we have many brands that are offering this. It's a health issue that is being addressed in the most appropriate way for a very private area of that bathroom. So being able to have the materials and the electricity plan that ahead, that contractor needs to know about that ahead of time.
So Barbara, I have a friend of mine who he purchased a bidet seat, but it did not have any heating capacity to it. It was just
He
a
lost
seat
it.
on the toilet. And, living here in Colorado with mountain runoff, with cool water, is probably not something that I like to think of doing in the nether regions, if you will. It might not be all that comfortable. Yes, it does work that way, but it's certainly one way to be able to wake yourself up in the morning, or keep you awake at night after having that done.
If there is one thing on the top of my list to recommend to anybody, it's a heated seat. Absolutely a heated seat, especially in that most important bathroom.
But I'm talking about the water. That was cool mountain water. And
Oh,
when
the
he built
heated
new
water
home,
in the bidet is what you're talking
I'm
about.
talking about the delivered water.
All
Not
right,
just
honey.
sitting on a cool seat. That's one thing. It's having that spritz of water that might be like 45 degrees. Yeah, no, thank you. I'll pass on that.
I think that the point is that there are an awful lot of details that go into the kind of selection that you may not be aware of because of the technology that has given us beautiful, beautiful options. So to try and bring this down to our full hour, I just want to thank you for allowing us to share this, and that we are here to share our expertise as well as products. And I'm going to say, as far as finding a kitchen and bath designer, the NKBA, National Kitchen and Bath Association, Rocky Mountain Chapter.org will allow you to see certified kitchen and bath designers so that you can go ahead and select, talk to, interview everything that you need.
Well, Barbara,
So-
there may be people who are watching this that may not be in the Denver, Colorado area, but the NKBA will allow you to be able to find chapters
True.
across the country and Canada as well, to be able to help you with that process. But one of the other things that that, you know, in our old home, we had kind of a narrow area between our sink and our island. And it almost had to be that you had to be very adept at doing the tango when two people were trying to cross there, because it was that. So that's another really key factor that kitchen bath designers get into, that ergonomic aspect as to the work environment, especially in the kitchen, as to where the sink, where the cooktop, where the food is being stored. I think it's called the triangle, the work triangle.
Well,
Make that work along with accessible paths through the kitchen.
NKBA has had the work triangle for years and years and has now shifted that. So the principles that we use, which really demand that we have a more detailed conversation with you as a homeowner, how you use it morning, noon, and night, how you use it when you entertain. What have you discovered is not appropriately stored that needs to have a very specific way in which to give you what you need? And because so many people do recharge their phones in the kitchen, how can we eliminate and make it more efficient to give you that kind of charging for your computer and phone and everything else? This is, again, a part of the list that a kitchen and bath designer would go through. And I hope that answers your question, Louis.
So, all right, well, so with that, I want to also recommend people go to their local home builders association. There's like 370 different HBA chapters across the country to be able to find professionals. And there are a number of professionals, both the types that kitchen bath designers and also interior designers who are members there. But you can get lots of other great information as to what you should be doing for your remodel or your new build, like us. But I want to thank everybody for being here, and I want to thank Barbara Barton and Jay Morrow for being my two key experts today, and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.